passing a high knee shield. Let's get into the next part of this, all right? So I'm passing a high knee shield. I've got a few different things that I'm dealing with here, right? So if my partner knows what he's doing, he's most likely gonna have frames, okay? So in order to pass a high knee shield, I'm gonna have to square my hand inside into the back of his elbow, okay? I don't wanna do this here because his frame is actually still there. So I'm gonna meet that in a second if I don't deal with that, okay? So whenever you're trying to clear a frame, especially when he's out this far, right? Clearing the wrist really doesn't clear anything because that's the frame. That's where he has strength, that is in his elbow. So when I go after this, I want to go behind the elbow, all right? So I'm going behind the elbow. I'm doing the exact same thing that we did in the first one, except for I'm making him load me up, okay? So I'm putting pressure on the knee shield, my hand's coming in behind the elbow, and when I feel that pressure pushing back on the knee shield, I'm just gonna sidestep it and drop in. Okay, so you put forward pressure on the knee shield and then get your hand behind the elbow so that you can pass that frame and drop right into the position that you want to be in, okay? So I'm gonna have one of two different things. We can have the exact same pass. You notice we're in the exact same position as we are, right, in the first attack. A lot of guys, when they're playing the high knee shield though, they won't play with an upper frame. They're gonna keep their body in nice and tight. They don't want me on the inside arm position. They don't want me having the underhook, right? They're gonna be battling and trying to get the underhook for themselves so they can work on wrestling up. So we also have to be aware of that situation as well, okay? So all the same passes that we just did with the lower knee shield, if you're gonna clear the frame, if they're using an outward frame, right, you're gonna do the exact same passes that you just did a minute ago. So again, my hand's gonna come to the inside, behind the elbow, right? I'm gonna put forward pressure on his knee shield so that he starts to rock back on his hips. And as I clear the frame, I'm dropping to my hip so that I can drop into this same exact position that we were in when we just cleared the other knee shield. I can go in the exact same finishes. I can go in the exact same ways to clear from here, right? Everything that I was doing before. All right, so now we're gonna deal with an opposite scenario, right? So the guy, he wants to get his underhook. This is his game. He's trying to get up underneath me. He's trying to get his underhook. So I don't have the opportunity to clear a frame here because he's guarding that inside space. He might be guarding it here, right, where I'm not going to be able to get in there, and I'm definitely not going to be able to drop cross body. Okay, so there's an easy way to do this. Instead of trying to go, you know, through this hole, what I'm going to do is I'm going to go over his head. Okay, so we're going to pass the guard. We're going to attack him going over his head. This is going to put us in the kimura lock position. Okay, so I'm doing the exact same thing. I'm putting pressure on his knee shield. Right, as I start to feel that reverse pressure, I'm going to twist my body and go around it. I'm clearing the top of his head. Okay, so you notice I have the arm here in the kimura lock position. Okay, so this is the attack that I want to be in. Right, so I'm here. While I'm here, I can still, he's got a high guard here, so I still have to worry about this guard, so I can do the exact same thing. I can start to clear my knee, right? I can pull it back up, right? I can start to create space, step out, right? All those things. But I also now have an arm I can attack, okay? So whenever I attack the kimura, if he's deep underneath me, right, I need to get him flat to his chest again so I can attack this. All right, so I'm gonna roll flat to his chest so that I can reach back here and get the arm and get the attack, all right? So I don't wanna try to attack it right here. This has put me in a bad spot. My weight is this direction. I can lose this. So I'm gonna roll forward, right, so that I can come off my elbow and start into my attack from there, all right? So you got your kimura attack there. All right, so now we're gonna deal with a different scenario where when I go to pass my opponent's arm, he has his frames in here. So I'm gonna do the exact same step, except for this time, the first time he was down and he was looking for the underhook, which I took advantage of by going over the head, right? But you have a lot of opponents that will keep their hands in here. So when I do this exact same attack now, his hand is gonna be underneath me instead of over here, all right? So we're here, I step over, right, and boom, I've got the arm underneath me. This is the most dangerous position because he's got both frames in here, all right? So now that I'm dealing with both frames underneath me, I wanna clear this arm, okay? I'm not really necessarily worried about the bottom one because my weight's on it. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna stick my hand underneath here and I'm gonna grab the wrist, right? And I'm gonna pull that wrist out, okay? So that I can start again into my kimura attacks, okay? So we're going over the head to pass. One, second one here, okay? So the first one, he's looking for his underhook, all right? Which I don't want to give him his underhook going this direction. This is bad for me, all right? He can go to my back, he can wrestle up, okay? So that's the reason why when I feel this pressure, he's got his arm down, I push forward into that knee shield pressure, right? And I'm gonna drop over his head to get in this position, okay? I'm gonna be nice and tight, start attacking that arm, all right? The second one, his frames are in nice and tight. Again, I can't get into that area, so dominating the hip's not gonna help. It's a lot harder to clear that top knee shield. So again, whenever I do this, guys, I put the forward pressure on him before I twist my hips, okay? So I put forward pressure on him. He's gonna push back. When he pushes back is when I twist, okay? Now he's got his frames up. So what I'm gonna do, my hand's going in underneath, and I'm hooking to the wrist, right? Once I've got the wrist hooked, I'm gonna pull it out, right? And now I've got control of the wrist here. I'm gonna, again, drive him to his back so I can start attacking this kimura lock, right? So now, a lot of times we're in this position. Finishing the kimura here with a full half guard is not gonna really be possible, okay? I can't get the torque and the twist that I need because he's still attached to my leg, all right? So what we're gonna do is we're gonna control this kimura with one hand, all right? But if the guy's stronger than me underneath, just grabbing his wrist like this is not gonna be a way to control him, all right? Me and Corey did this earlier. So what I wanna do is I wanna get control of the meat of his hand right here, and I wanna control that. Now if he tries to escape, you guys are gonna notice how much difference that is, right? So if I grab the meat of his hand and his wrist is bent, it takes away all of the power of the arm. He can't pull his arm away, right? But if I'm right here, it's gonna fight my strength versus his strength. So he can still work his arm out of there. But if I've got a hold of the meat of his hand, go ahead and try hard.
Like
there's
blocking yourself trying.
It just kinks your arm to the point where you have no power to be able to do anything. So if you're gonna do this, you wanna do this. Now that I've got this lock in position, now I can deal with this. I couldn't finish the kimura because I'm dealing with this leg again. So one of two things: dive underneath, straighten that leg, pass it out. Now, when I'm gonna pass the guard here, guys. If I'm gonna pass the guard and try to finish the kimura, my legs are gonna come underneath and I'm gonna walk backwards. Look, underneath, walk backwards. Now I can start to attack this kimura. Okay, see how his knees are facing the opposite direction? They're not facing me. Whenever I'm trying to pass the guard, that's the way I want his knees facing, the opposite direction. Okay, and come back in. All right, the second one, we're here, all right? Again, I'm gonna clear my knee, all right? So whenever I clear my knee, I give it a pop, right? So I'm gonna pop, all right? Make my knee get cleared, all right? Now I can pass it over and I can grab hold of that kimura, all right? Once I've got here, I can start locking this in, straight arm lock, right? So finishing the kimura from here is very difficult, right? But forcing his arm straight and then locking up a straight arm bar is easy, right? Once I've got this kimura lock here, right? Because he wants to escape his arm, so I kind of push it into the direction and I stop it where I want it at. I'm behind the elbow and a lot of pressure on top of the wrist, all right? So I don't even try to attempt to finish the kimura this direction. I'm gonna go straight into that straight arm block and finish that back leg. All right, so last time, we're in the high knee shield, okay? So we've got the two different scenarios, but remember, I'm going over the head. I'm gonna push forward, feel that reverse pressure, drop over the top. He gave me this scenario, so I'm gonna reach in under here. I'm gonna pull that wrist out. I'm gonna lock up that kimura lock. All right, so now I've got to deal with the legs over there. So I'm gonna reach in here, I'm gonna grab a hold of his hand so I can hold this with one hand, right? I'm gonna clear my knee, right? Or I'm gonna pull and step out, all right? If I pull and step out, I'm gonna turn those hips, slide up behind them, and I start to finish my kimura lock there, all right? Other way, all right? I've got the kimura lock locked in, all right? Grab the hand, control the lock here. I'm gonna clear my knee, drive my hips over, right? I'm gonna grab the wrist, I'm gonna go into my kimura lock again. I'm in the kimura lock for a lot of control, right? So I'm gonna pull my knee in nice and tight to the body, I'm gonna straighten that arm out, follow it along, and get into that straight arm bar position. Okay? Everybody got it? Okay, so over the head with the arm underneath, over the head with the arm framed up. All right, so give your partner those 2 different scenarios and then work through them. I'll be walking around and help you guys. Let's do it on 3. 1, 2, 3.